What is the difference between turbocharger and a supercharger? And in this video, let's find out. Hey guys, how are you all doing? SP here. Many of you guys might have heard a manufacturer say our engine is turbocharged or supercharged, and you might have wondered what do they mean. So here's an explanation of what is a turbocharger and what is a supercharger and their differences. So let's start with the most common one, the turbocharger. The turbocharger is a type of forced induction system which is exhaust driven to compress more fresh air to the engine for the intake stroke. Basically, a turbocharger has a turbine, compressor and connecting shafts, and it is connected to the exhaust manifold. The exhaust is linked to the turbine side while the compressor side is connected to the intake side. The exhaust gases are used to spin the turbine, which is connected to the compressor, which sucks in fresh air through the air filter and feeds it through the intercooler to the intake. More air means more fuel is used, hence more power is produced. Turbochargers solely depend on exhaust gases. If there is not enough exhaust gas to spool the turbo, there will be no boost and you will be out of power band. So why do manufacturers use turbo? Because it makes more sense from an efficiency standpoint. You are only using the exhaust gas, which otherwise will be wasted, to spool the turbo to suck in more air to produce more power. Due to this, even a smaller displacement engine with a turbo can produce as much power like a naturally aspirated higher displacement engine. Pros: it is a highly efficient way of making more power. Cars with turbo can be highly fuel efficient as well, since they can use a smaller engine to produce big power. But if you are always trying to hit peak power, your mileage will drop faster than a rock. Turbos can be engineered to run high boost, producing huge power. And also, it makes a really cool noise. Cons: it needs oil lubrication and the engine oil is used, but due to the excessive heat in the turbo, your engine oil might lose its properties sooner. It has turbo lag, which means a lag between the moment you press down the accelerator and to the moment the turbo spools up and produces power. The power delivery is not linear. It can only produce power in a certain power band. Now, let's move on to the supercharger. Supercharger is also a forced induction system, but instead of operating on the exhaust gas like a turbo, it is powered by the engine's crankshaft. There are three main types of superchargers, which are root style supercharger, centrifugal supercharger and twin screw supercharger. All of them work on the same principle but differs in the way they compress the air. Basically, the supercharger has a pulley or a gear which is connected to the compressor, and it is powered by the crankshaft through a belt or a chain. So when the crankshaft rotates, the compressor in the supercharger also rotates. So when the engine's RPM increases, the crankshaft spins faster, which in turn will rotate the pulley faster, and hence the compressor rotates faster, compressing more fresh air to the intake manifold. Supercharger have a linear power delivery since they are dependent on crankshaft and not on exhaust gas. So why do manufacturers use supercharger? Well, usually for its lag-free nature. These are usually used in cars producing high power and torque. Also, these are used in performance cars due to their linear power delivery. Pros: power delivery is instant as there is no lag. Power delivery is linear, so the driver can easily modulate the speed of the vehicle using the accelerator. Superchargers can produce high power and torque. Superchargers are simple in construction and has less parts than a typical turbo setup. Most superchargers does not need oil lubrication except the centrifugal supercharger. Does not get extremely hot like a turbo. It also makes a really cool noise. Cons: not as efficient as turbo. It uses some power from the engine to operate. Since the root style and twin screw superchargers are mounted on top of the engine, they might increase the vehicle's center of gravity. If you guys would like to see an in-depth video on turbochargers and superchargers, let me know in the comments and I will try to do an in-depth video on them in the future. And also tell me in the comments below which one do you prefer, turbocharger or supercharger, and why is that. So that's it guys for this video. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, SP here, over and out.